All right, gang. Episode 1 of the SEANCAST. Welcome to it. I'm Sean France. I've been wanting to delve into something outside of posting pictures on Instagram for a long time. And I've always loved the podcast format. And, I just kind of want to let everybody into what I like to do, who I am, and just get kind of deeper cuts. The whole reason I wanted to start this podcast in the first place is one, just to put really quality information out there. The other piece is, hopefully make some of y'all laugh. We'll get on here and just have a good time. I've wanted to invest in social media, in YouTube platforms, and other streaming platforms without really having a direction or knowing exactly what I want to do. For a while, and it came up a couple of months ago when I was talking to a buddy that we were kind of joking around about fantasy football and man, we should start a podcast because we can dive deep. So you can expect some football and some fantasy football stuff, no doubt, in the future. I'll touch on a little bit of everything. Like I said, a little bit of everything that I like. But we were just joking around, and it kind of sparked in my head a little bit, this could be a great route and a good way to go. And sometimes I feel like I have more to say than what I could do in just short form content. I tend to be a little bit more of a cerebral person, and I think a lot, and I like to be able to voice those thoughts and hopefully share my experience and help some people. And hopefully some of my story, some of my experiences, and just my life in general, can help some people in one way or another, whether that be in an acute and direct way, whether it's more long-term, or if nothing else, just get your mind off of your day or maybe a mundane task and just cut away a little bit and listen to me or whoever I have on. Yeah, I've been wanting to do something like this for a while, and this just seems like a great fit for me. It's been a few months in the making, at least, where I have been trying to get a proper production set up, and do the whole thing the right way. I didn't want to do this half-baked by any means. So I'm super excited. I'm super, super excited. All of my friends, I've probably been talking their ear off about it. My girl and my family, I've been talking to everyone. My coach, I've been talking to everyone about this so much, and I'm so happy that it's finally happening. It's extremely satisfying to be sitting here and filming this finally. Let me walk it a step or two back and at least introduce myself first. Like I said, I'm Sean France. I've traveled a lot. My dad was military, so I've kind of been all over the place. I grew up a lot of my early years in Arizona. I spent a little bit of time in Korea whenever I was very young. From Korea back to Arizona, actually, to Texas. I've lived in Kansas for a time, Georgia. I feel like I've been everywhere. I currently live in Georgia, just outside of the Atlanta area. So I've been all over the place, and during my primitive years growing up, I was always interested in a lot of different things, but especially sports, athletics. It was just my wheelhouse. It always clicked. I grew up in a football family, so we just always ate it up, always enjoyed anything competitive. We have a really competitive family. So It definitely was passed on to me. I played football, I played baseball, wrestled for a brief period of time, played basketball for a brief period of time. I did a lot athletically. It was always kind of just what I enjoyed doing. I've always enjoyed learning too. Biology was something that I thoroughly enjoyed. I always enjoyed the sciences. That's probably going to be a big topic of discussion on here a good bit. But, I've been all over the place, played a lot of sports, feel like I did a lot of different things. And it landed me in this West Georgia area. Whenever I got here, the plan was originally to continue playing football in college. I played at a small school for literally a couple of months outside after I graduated high school. Came here and wanted to continue playing football, wanted to continue going to school, and then I realized I have no money and I had rent to pay. So I dropped out. I got a job working as a personal trainer in person, and I did that for 3.5 years, I believe. Whenever I started, it was rough. It was so rough. I was hit in the face with the world because, whenever I moved, I didn't have anything really. I've told a couple of very close people in my life this story, but I remember me and my best friend moved in to a small duplex, and our first grocery trip, we were kind of like, what the hell do we buy? Because we have no money. And I think maybe he was doing a little better than me at the time, but we both knew we didn't have money. And I think I had $36, and I'll never forget that number because, in case you've ever had $36 or less, it's not a comfortable way to live. So it was brutal for a little while, laid on rent, trying to scrape my way by, if you will, and just not feeling like I had much of a purpose. And like, I loved training people because I felt like at least I was bringing something to their life that was helpful, that was useful, that maybe I'm helping them improve in some sort of way. And that meant a lot to me. But that being said, whenever you're just not making that check, it can be frustrating. It was frustrating. It was brutal. So I was just kind of steady grinding away up there. Within the first year or so of training out of that gym, in the same town I'm in now, a guy approached me that I worked with named Dylan Allen. He runs Apex Fitness Transformations now. Dylan is a great dude, and I was really appreciative to him for kind of dipping my toe in bodybuilding because I knew nothing about it. I was always known, at least amongst my friends, to train very hard and work very hard. Whenever it came to training, I studied a lot. I wanted to be better at it constantly. I wanted to keep growing. I became pretty addicted to the cycle of watching myself grow. I can eat more food and I can train my ass off and I can grow and I can get stronger. And that was just such a cool thing because all of these things going on in my life I felt like I had no control over. I've got control over this one thing. And that was a great feeling. So, I really digged in hard in training. And back to Dylan, he came up to me. I just turned 19 at the time, I think. I still had a bald head. I think I just shaved my head at that time. 19 going on 40. And he came up to me and he was like, he just pretty much told me like, hey man, I knew he was a SMBF pro, so it's a natural bodybuilding federation. He was a pro in men's physique. I knew nothing about bodybuilding. I just remember seeing Jay Cutler on magazine covers, and as a kid, and just being like, that's crazy. That's pretty cool. maybe I'll be swole one day. And, I always worked out, but it was always based off of sports. It was always because I want to get bigger for football or increase throwing velocity or whatever it might have been. But Dylan approached me and he was like, hey, man, why don't you let me prep you for a show? I think you do pretty well. So at the time, I just had little or no idea about what it was. I was already kind of in this mode of really enjoying seeing my body change. I had been that way for a while, Once I kind of figured out I could manipulate these variables and watch myself grow, it was really cool. So Dylan kind of took me under his wing a little bit and helped me with my first ever prep. I prepped for an SMBF men's physique show. I didn't really know the different bodybuilding divisions. I didn't know anything. So it was my first ever show. It was my first ever prep. It was the first anything I had experienced in bodybuilding. And, my body, fortunately, I've got the ability to turn over body fat pretty quickly, to gain muscle fairly quickly. And I think at 19, I was pretty well developed comparatively to at least most in that age group. And I went to that show, and, I think I really fell in love with bodybuilding that day because I just remember just really trying to present myself well. I feel like I did. I got to do that show with my buddy Trent, and I just remember having so much fun and getting to share that experience with him and getting up there on stage and walking my routine and hitting a particular pose. I think it was my back pose. And my family and friends go crazy, and kind of the whole place got excited, and the noise level goes up, and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool after working for these, whatever we did, 14, 18-week prep, week by week by week, and then, you get that little adrenaline rush and that reward from that moment. It felt amazing. So after that was over, after the show was over, at the end of the show, I should say, I ended up taking first in my novice class, winning my open class, and then I lost to a kid in the overall pose down. He didn't look like he was much older than me. I don't think he was, but he was just one of those guys. I didn't know what men's physique was at the time. I'm not built for men's physique. If you go look at my Instagram, Sean France _ me, dude, I'm not built for men's physique. But at the time, like I said, I didn't really know much about divisions, this and that. I was not well developed enough to go and do anything else except for that. So, I'm fortunate for that experience. I wouldn't change a thing. I got beaten the overall by this guy who was he was that guy. He was just men's physique put together. Tiny, tiny little waist, broad shoulders, looked great. And, yeah, I'll never forget that moment because I got this huge rush from winning that class, winning my open class, standing dead center in between all those guys, and feeling like, man, I just did that. There's guys up there they've been training for 10, 15, 20 years, whatever. And I had been training for a couple of years, and I wasn't even 20 yet. And I was like, man, maybe I can be good at this. Maybe this can be my thing, So I fell in love with it pretty quickly. And right out of the backside of it, I started researching more, trying to learn more about bodybuilding. And that's whenever I talked to, I stopped working with Dylan briefly after that show, and I talked to my buddy Jonathan Hambrick, IFBB Pro at the time in Classic. I think he's a 2-time Olympian, and just a monster of a human. Bro is huge. Jonathan's like 6'3", 300 pounds. I think maybe floats 290, but he's been over 300 pounds before. Jonathan's the man. One of the nicest guys that I've met in the industry. One of the realest guys I've met in the industry. We have a lot in common in general. We're both fucking anime nerds and really enjoy a lot of the same things. We got to chop it up about anime and video games and so I approached him. His coaching was affordable for me at the time, and he prepped me for another show. I did the Lee Haney in what was probably one of the most stressful periods of my life for multiple reasons. It was just an extremely stressful period in my life. And looking back on it, I should have never got on stage there. But we did okay. I nationally qualified. Who cares? But I nationally qualified. And then to kind of make the long story short of the time in between now and that show, I got beat at that show on my open class, and I only registered for my open class because same deal as whenever I moved up there, or moved up here. I have no money. So I opened it, just registered for my open class. It was like $100 a pop. I was like, dog, I gotta get tanned. I registered for my open class. So I lost in my open class to a guy named Jeremy, who, funny enough, was getting coached by who is my current coach. If you can't beat him, join him, right? So, I got beat there. My open class didn't even get to be an overall pose down. And that's whenever I realized I was like, and that was in classic physique. I don't know if I mentioned that, but that's when I realized I was like, I got to step it up a notch. I had a little downtime in between, and I ended up kind of convincing myself I wanted to go back and play football. I got a couple of your regular, just safe jobs. I worked in sales for a little bit and bounced around here and there, and was going back and trying to play football. I had a couple of tryouts lined up for some of those smaller pro leagues that are around now, and thank God they are. For guys like me at the time that wanted to get back into it, or guys that maybe didn't work out in the league. Like I'm so glad there's other routes now. But at the time, I was training. I was doing power cleans again, and trying to get back into the football style training. We're really enjoying it. I enjoy working out in general, but it was just that training was a lot of fun. I was out on the field playing 7-on-7 one day. Big dude lined up against me on the outside, and I was like, I had been throwing with this quarterback for a while. I was like, you know what's up. I'm going to run by him. So I get on my horse and I run by him. And I was just striding, balls up in the air. And I was like, touchdown. And then God said, nope. And I tore my hamstring. I think I tore it. I at least pulled it really bad. But there was a pretty hard, loud pop. I hit the deck. I couldn't walk straight on it for a few weeks at least. So that put me down and out. And at that moment, I was like, that's God's sign for me of being like, hey man, you were on the right path. Don't try to go back and do this thing. You were on the right path. Stick with it. So I got back to it. I quit my regular day job that, was about 60 hours a week. I was on track to make very good money at that time. I say very good money. I don't want to dig into the whole monetary thing too much, but I was on the way to do good money that year. And I quit the safe job. I got a job bartending and serving just to kind of pay my bills. And then I started my company, Next Level Performance, which is my online training company, which is still running today. And I am super blessed for all the support that I've gotten in that business, for the clients I have now. If any of you are listening, I love you. Thank you for supporting my business, being a part of my life. I've enjoyed more so than anything making the connections with these people. And I love hard work and getting people in a place to where they become more confident with themselves, healthier, or in the case of bodybuilders and athletes, building a physique that's going to be worthy of winning. So, I haven't been at it for a very long time, but at this point I do have a lot of class wins under my belt as a coach, and I'm very grateful for the time that I've had now and getting to do what I do and helping people out. Coaching, I truly love coaching. It's a lot of fun. So I never see myself quitting coaching. It's something I'll always do. If this becomes something where I end up making it very full time, coaching is always going to be there for me. So especially with my people that stick with me long term, I'm always going to have a soft spot for those people, and I always want to stick around for my bodybuilders and my people that have supported me early on. Both of my first two ever clients Will and Talia, they have both been awesome athletes, incredibly trusting, and they were with me from the start. Whenever I began, I'd coached people before I started my company, but it was more so of like, it was like my friends reaching out and being like, hey, you want to help me with this show? And I did so at the time. But whenever I started and made this my route, those two were the first ones knocking at my door. And, we took, at this point, Will and Tilly both. Tilly was just got done having a kid and wanted to not be out of shape. And now she's an extremely competitive bikini girl in the NPC and a great bodybuilder. And Will is one of those guys who just applies the process, communicates at a really high level, especially for his age. And I'm just really grateful to have worked with. I'm grateful for both those people. I'm grateful for everybody on my roster. And I could go on about every single one of these people, just from the origin of the company, getting to have those two. And I still work with them today. That's like, I could shed a tear right now talking about them because I'm so grateful for all of them. I know I've probably said that I'm grateful about 6 times now, but I truly am. I truly am. It means a lot. So, and just remember from everything that I said, I'm a person that will never forget where they came from. You don't forget where you come from, no matter what it is. If you come from a ton of money, be grateful because not most people do. If you come from nothing, be grateful because a lot of people don't get to come from nothing and make something of themselves. Wherever you come from, whatever your origin is, no matter what you went through, good, bad, remember it because that's exactly why you are the way you are right now. And if you don't like the way that you are right now, you have all of the power to change it. It's a hard thing to look at yourself in the mirror sometimes and realize that you need to change, but it's necessary. And I've had to do that time and time again. I still do it. There's things that I want to be better at. There's things that I want to be better about as a person, not just as an athlete or as a coach or professionally, but as a person. How do I improve? At the end of the day, if you focus on that, there's not a lot that's going to be able to keep you down. Life is always going to knock you down. And I'm sure that if you've listened this far and you heard that very brief origin story of mine, look, I was down. I was down bad. It was not fun for a while. Life was not fun for a while. And I wouldn't have it any other way because it put me exactly where I'm at right now. So, yeah, man, there's just nothing that I would change. And just keep that in your head. Don't wish for a different life. Don't wish you were someone else or you were something else. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. So, why am I feeling so emotional, bro? Cut for a second because I started bawling my eyes out. That's not true. It's not true. I was having technical difficulties. If I was shedding a tear on episode 1, man, whew, y'all be in for it. No, I'm not really. I'm really not that emotional of a person. But I'd like to be. Like, I admire people that are genuinely. I'm slightly envious of it in a way. But that's just not me, man. Y'all probably see me cry eventually. I hope y'all get to see me cry. I think I would find satisfaction in it and like being able to show a state of vulnerability. But It's hard for me, man. I don't cry very easy. I spend all the time talking about myself, and so it's time to dig into these questions, man. I like these questions. These are funny. Some of them are very funny. Some of them are probably what you'd expect a little bit. But let's get started with an absolute classic. Is sumo cheating? What I will say about sumo is sumo has zero drip. Sumo has no drip. There's nothing swaggy about sumo. If I see somebody pulling sumo, I don't get all that excited. Look, man, heavyweight is heavyweight, and if you can pick it up off the ground, sumo, conventional, I've got respect for it. I do. It's just no swag. You wouldn't see me pulling sumo. And I'm a really competitive person, and if I were a power lifter competitively, it makes sense to pull sumo. You can kill the range of motion a little bit. You can turn a deadlift into pretty much a hip thrust. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Like it becomes significantly easier to move load from A to B. So just by way of killing that range of motion. Am I a fan of sumo? No. Does sumo have drip? No, it does not. Does conventional have extremely high levels of drip? Yes. Yes, it does. Okay. So if I were a powerlifter, yeah, man, I'm probably pulling conventional. It just feels way cooler. It looks way cooler. It's like the difference of having your back completely flat on a bench press and just driving the barbell with little to no foot drive and just being a strong, gnarly bastard, And I like that idea. The idea of sumo for me is just kind of lame, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So, and I mean, like the application of deadlifting I don't deadlift a lot right now because the application within hypertrophy training and bodybuilding training, it's not the best for bodybuilders, not the best for hypertrophy in general. There's some people I think it's really applicable for. Sumo has little to no application in hypertrophy, unless maybe you're doing like a deficit type of sumo squat / deadlift and really trying to target your glutes. But I love to conventional deadlift, and I just don't really. I do it sometimes just for fun, but whenever I look at my back, it's like I need to grow in the upper back area. I think probably the most, and thicken up the back. So I utilize a lot of, scapular retraction type of movements. So rows and pull downs. So that's what I stick to because that's what works the best for me for growing my back. But whenever it comes to conventional or sumo, in its application to bodybuilding, there's little or none. So I don't really see the point in it. If I'm picking up a conventional deadlift, I use my glutes so much, and my glutes are pretty well developed in my back, I think. So just no real need for it. End of the day, sumo, zero drip, conventional, absolutely disgustingly drippy. Seeing somebody pull conventional makes me so excited, especially if it's heavyweight. The difference in somebody deadlifting 700 pounds conventional and deadlifting 700 pounds sumo, my hype level for sumo is almost abysmal. My hype level for somebody pulling 700 conventional is through the roof. It's through the roof. It's sick. It's absolutely sick. So, yeah, sumo's lame. Sorry. I'm not sorry. Pineapple on pizza. Dude, please light me up all you want. I'm sure there's a lot of thoroughbred Italians, Sicilians, living in the Bronx or, up northeast. It's a real pizza purists. You know, they're going to hear me say, I love pineapple on my pizza. That probably hate that because, yeah, it's non-traditional. And maybe there's some heritages, maybe a little bit, into the heritage of pizza. Maybe it's disrespectful. I don't know the heritage of pizza. And I don't care because I love pineapple on it. Pineapple chicken on that thin crust, dog. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. I want a little bit of salty with my, sorry, I want a little bit of sweet with my salty. I like a balance of flavors. I like a little bit of sweet with my heat, with my salty. Bring me I want it all. I want you to cover my palate in every direction. Pause. But I really like pineapple on pizza. I'm telling you, the pineapple chicken, dude. It's hardly anything hits like it for me. So yeah, I'm a big supporter. Big W, pineapple on the pizza. I know. I already know it's, these first two are really controversial topics. I feel like I'm going to get hate for both of them, but hey, bring it on. Hate sumo, love pineapple on my pizza. So at least if you pull sumo, I'm going to look at you and like make fun of your face. I love you. I love you. I've got a homeboy that I think he pulled a state record for his age group. Pulling sumo, dude, you got a state record now. W. That's a W. Still going to make fun of you though. So, and if you don't like pineapple on your pizza, that's the thing. I'm not really going to make fun of you all that much. So the difference of how much hate I get between those, I don't really care. You just can't tell me that sumo's drippy. If you don't like pineapple on your pizza, all right, whatever. We're different. Let's just move on. Thoughts on SARM/trend/TikTok wave? Great question. Let me start by saying I saw a post from one of my buddies who's a coach, one of my Instagram buddies who's a coach. We just kind of go back and forth every once in a while. Don't know the guy that well, but he put some good content out there. Seems like a very intelligent and well-informed coach. I like that. He said, if you are out here hating on the broccoli-haired tripod kids that are doing the Ziz pose in the mirror every other second, you probably need to get a life. I'm not quoting him, he said something like that. But I agree so thoroughly. Because look, man, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, somewhere in that range, there's a lot of other stuff you can be getting into than going to the gym. And I was going to the gym, but I was also getting into other things that I could have been spending time in the gym. And I know people get annoyed because you're working out in groups of 3 and 4 and whatever. If you're being rude, I'm not good with it. So, if you're in people's way, if you're maybe being obnoxious, some people are obnoxious when they train hard. Some people probably think I'm obnoxious when I train hard. I understand. I just really like training hard. Sometimes you got to let it out of you a little bit. But, if you're being rude to people, if you're not cleaning up your weights, if you're not wiping down your machines, the little things, those common gym courtesies, especially in bigger corporate gyms, if you're not doing those things, yeah, not a fan. Not a fan. But here's the thing, man. If you're in the gym, you're a young person, I'm happy for you. I'm happy in general because there's a lot worse you can be doing. That being said, as far as the SARMs trend thing goes, let me first start by saying this. I am not a doctor. I am only speaking on this subject for harm reduction purpose and really just for entertainment value at the end of the day. But I am not a doctor. Don't do drugs. Okay? Don't do them. That being said, talking about SARMs, hey, you're taking something that hasn't been tested on human beings. You're a human being. So, let's just talk about if that's a good idea or not. I'll let you come to your own conclusion. Feels like common sense to me. But let me just voice my opinion. It's really dumb. If you want to do PEDs, man, you know, there are human trials, studied compounds on human beings. And we have documentation for side effects, the positive effects and benefits, potential risks. It's all in the literature, right? You don't have that for SARMs. The whole trend thing, it's silly. It's silly, you know. It's gotten this golden boy type of tier for PEDs at this point in trend. And it's become kind of like a meme, and it's, you know, not necessarily a good thing, because you don't have the most intelligent people in the world getting their hands on that information. And whenever you know, a young kid hears they can get results quick, and this will get you huge, bro. It's a bad idea. The most important thing I can stress is, number one, don't do drugs. All right? Number two, if you want to pursue bodybuilding, just bodybuild. Train your ass off. Eat like a dog. And by that, I mean eat regimented, eat high quality food, and do it every single day. And then one day, whenever you're old enough, I think that it's very important to stress that you need to be past the threshold, probably of at least 21, 22, 23 years old, to start dabbling, if you so choose to dabble in PEDs, as a personal choice of yours to further pursue bodybuilding. You need to be in a good, not only mental state, that's the most important, but also financial state, because you're going to be getting blood work a lot, buddy, if you're doing it right. And hopefully, and let's not even talk about everything else is super expensive too. Okay? Everything else about going that route is super expensive. So you better be financially prepared. And I probably should have said this before the other two, but, well, not don't do drugs, just don't do drugs. But coaching, hire a coach. I cannot tell you how important that is, to not just do it on your own from YouTube research. I'm so grateful for YouTube, because there is so much good information out there. There's a lot of not so great information out there too. Hey man, there's medical journals to read, case studies, clinical trials. That stuff is accessible too. If you're going to do your own thing and not hire a coach, you better be well researched. Very well researched. But for 99% of people, man, just hire a coach. You're going to get that information. Hire a good coach. And let me tell you something about good coaches. They're not cheap. So, plays into the financial thing. Make sure you're financially prepared. You need a good coach. You need to be able to get blood work, 7-8 times a year probably, if you're doing it the right way. And outside of that, it's just a bad idea to do drugs in general. I already said that a few times, but I'm reiterating. Don't do them. Lastly, talking on TikTok. The whole TikTok wave. I know I've kind of segmented the question, but yeah, man. Hey, if you're a creator on TikTok, if you're a stock owner, if you are a owner, co-owner, CEO of TikTok, get your money, dog. I'm all about it. I'm all about the business. Get your money. I respect it. If you're a consumer, if you sit there and you're scrolling hour after hour, day after day, day in and day out, dude, it's a rabbit hole. It's dangerous. It does bad things to your brain. Genuinely does bad things to your brain. There's a ton of bad information on TikTok. The amount of times that someone has come up to me and been like, hey, do you know blank, 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 and stated something like it was a fact on a subject that I know well, and I go, hey man, did you know that that's dead wrong? They're like, well, I heard it on TikTok. Like they just told me, they will say I heard it on TikTok, like they just studied a published article from Brown University. So, hey man, TikTok in general, any social media, anything, really, it's all pretty dangerous as a consumer. Mindless scrolling is dangerous for a human being in general. Not to mention the extremely dangerous part of everything being so over-sexualized. Objectifying human beings is a dark, dark thing to do. Think about it. Need I say more? It's pretty gross. It's a gross thing to do. So I don't want to go into that anymore because I truly hate that subject in the way that it is pushed in your face, man, especially as a young developing young man or woman, and your life is becoming over-sexualized. That's a rabbit hole that American society in general wants you to fall into because it feeds their pockets in a lot of ways. So you got to be careful. You got to be very, very, very careful. Being a sexual human being, everyone is to an extent, right? And you're designed to be. Primally, you're designed to be. That is supposed to be something that's an intimate thing on a certain level, a vulnerable thing on a certain level. And when it becomes so prevalent and so widely accepted as just normal, it's just dangerous for young people especially. And I fully support people being confident in their bodies and being okay with, dressing how you like. I don't shame anyone for, any venture that you go into. Just know as a consumer, that stuff is dangerous, man. Very dangerous. Sorry to get so dad on you right there, but hey, man, I'm telling the truth. That stuff is scary for these young folks out here, man. I say that like I'm not young. I'm 24 years old. I'm not old by any means, but sometimes I feel like I can see through the veil a little bit, and the things that I find scare me. So, objectifying people's not cool, man. Man or woman, don't do it. It's not cool. It's not a good thing. How important is accountability for someone new in the gym? Dude, important. Very important. I think accountability is important for everyone, period, across the board, whenever it comes to training, whenever it comes to trying to eat healthy, whatever it may be. You need a support system, man. It's come up more and more in my life recently, the whole show me your friends, I'll show you your future type of deal. It has become more and more prevalent, and it keeps coming up. And this is a great kind of segue into that conversation. Whoever you surround yourself with, that's how you end up. Period. Like, it's just how human nature works. So, whenever I got started in the gym, my best friend to this day, he's a genetic freak. He could not train for months, and he walks around with like 18-inch arms, probably bigger. He's just that guy. Me and him trained a lot together, especially whenever I was a smaller fella. I was just trying to, where I didn't have that natural size, strength, and everything that he did. Because of that, I trained so hard. It was a healthy level of competition for me. And he pushed me to be a lot better. I pushed him to be better. And that was a huge growing moment for me. The whole time that we trained together, I grew a lot. Not only physically, but mentally. Dude, we used to work so much. Me and him worked so much for one summer because we're saving up to actually move up here. And we had like a storage unit that we had to keep our stuff in. We had to pay for that. And, you know, we were young dudes and our jobs did not pay a lot by any means. So we're just trying to stack cash and save for this move. So we used to work, and man, I'd get off work sometimes 10, 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock sometimes, midnight. I'd get off, text him, we're going to the gym. And we'd go to the gym, man. We would go to the gym, and we'd kill these late night workouts. And we'd get finished at 1:30 a lot of nights, sometimes around midnight some nights. Go back to his place at the time, play some Super Smash Brothers, probably eat 2 Wendy's 4-for-4s each. Because why not? Everything is gains, right? So we ate 2 Wendy's 4-for-4s, played some Smash, knocked out, did it all again. I need accountability now. I love bodybuilding. I love training. I don't always love the food, so it helps to have accountability. I have a coach, man. I have not stepped on stage since 2019, and I've been working with my coach for over 2 years at this point, and we don't even talk about competing. I'm not there yet. I will be, and I know I will be soon because of our trajectory. But it's just about, hey, the accountability I need is I've got to dole out a little bit of cash every month to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable to what I need to be doing. So that's my level of accountability. It means that much to me. There's no price tag on accountability. There really isn't. You know, don't ever make yourself go broke by any means. Be smart with your money. But hire somebody, man. Be accountable. It's super important. Have a buddy. Have a friend. Become friends with gym rats. You know, those people are going to help you get better. Train hard together. Have fun doing it. That stuff's super important. Accountability is important as human beings. So, as someone new to the gym, yeah, it's really important too. And you know, especially if you're new and you're uncomfortable in the gym, having a gym partner is huge. Softens that blow a little bit. You know, I get anxiety going in the gym whenever it's like peak hour. Oof. 70 people in this little space, and then I've got to ask somebody if I got to work in. Ugh. No, thank you. No, typically I'm usually a fairly social human being. As I've gotten a little bit older, I've realized that it's lost the appeal a little bit. And man, whenever I get in big crowds now, I'm gonna go home. Take me home. Let's get through a couple of more kind of fitness related ones. There's some fun ones in here too. Let's do a fitness one. Let's do a fun one. Let's do that. So, what do you think about incorporating a 16/8 fasting regime while still hitting macros? There is some context to this. So, let me pull it up here. In general, you know, if something's working, stick with it. This guy told me, you know, he's eating in kind of an 8-hour window, 16-hour fast. He's lost a lot of body fat. Trains like twice a day. So he's a grinder. I respect that. Probably not necessary, by the way. You know, you want to do some cardio and abs just to finish off. He does like cardio abs, and then he trains hypertrophy in the afternoon. So I would say, you know, maybe just to chill on the schedule a little bit. If you love it, dude, you want to do that, do it. And it's working, so stick with it. But I'd say just to like, you know, maybe remove a little bit of stress. Knock out a little cardio and abs post-workout. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. And he mentions the help with insulin sensitivity, which I would agree. It probably does help with insulin sensitivity. But there's only one real way to know that, and I would say get a blood glucose monitor, man. Check it. Make sure you're waking up with low-ish blood sugar and that your body is becoming insulin sensitive. Actually, at the end of your fasted period is probably where I'd check it. Right before you eat, when you haven't been eating throughout the day, in whatever part of that day that is, right before you go to eat. Check that blood glucose, man. See where you're sitting. You might be a little bit too low, and it might not be ideal to be as low as it could be getting. So maybe it might be ideal that you open up your eating window a little bit. But you should check the numbers. It would help a lot. At least have a clear picture of where your insulin sensitivity is specifically. Check your glucose a couple hours after your first meal. Maybe an hour after your last meal. And have a good idea of how you're actually affecting your blood sugar. Because it could be more positive than you think. It could be more negative than you think. So you don't know until you have the evidence, right? So create the evidence. Start there. Track the blood glucose. Otherwise, hey man, it's working for you. Keep doing it. If that's the case, keep doing it. Now, I would say if you wanted to retain a little bit more muscle, I'd probably open up the eating window just a little bit. Doesn't have to be a ton, but maybe a couple hours or so. And focus on, he did mention he focused on getting whole foods in. That's awesome. Continue to do that. Whole foods are key. So, and by whole foods, I mean real food. Stuff that you have to cook, right? Stuff that has an ingredients list of just a couple of things at most. Mainly stuff is not coming out of boxes and bags and tons of preservatives. You know what I mean? Food that has to be cooked. Whole food. He mentioned that's what he's doing for the most part. Stick with that, but make sure you're hitting that protein. Get your protein in with each meal, which I think he mentioned is just a couple of meals, 2 or 3, something like that. But if you want to retain a little bit more muscle, or maybe you're out of the backside of the cut and you're trying to get to the place where you're adding a little bit more muscle again, hey, open up the eating window a little bit, push the calories up some. And it doesn't mean that you have to stop with a fasting regime. I don't hate it. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to tell you, you got to go with this. You got to do this instead. Hey, man, no, you got to wake up and eat your food. Dude, it works for you. Great. Now, it's different scenario. Like you hire me and you want to be a bodybuilder or something, we're going to cut it out. We're just going to start eating our food, But, hey, man, if it works for your schedule, if it's working for your body, if you feel good, hell yeah, I'm all about it. So I respect the fact that you're just getting after it. I respect that. Simple as that. Next question. Fun one this time. Top 3 anime. So, dude, where do I start? Number 1, Hunter x Hunter. Dude, it's so good. It's so good. I remember my friend recommended it to me, and I started watching it, and I watched like the first season and a half. Maybe 2. I got through like the first 2 arcs, and I was like, bro, this show is pretty childish. Like, I know a lot of animes kind of lean into that. Some of them are extremely mature audience type of deal, right? But some of them kind of lead into being a little bit kiddie, and I was feeling that way. And then, boy, does it take a turn. It took a turn, and I was hooked as soon as it got really dark. I like dark subject matter. I do. I've always been a big horror movie fan. I really enjoy some fleshed out dark subject matter. And it got into it. And it was a lot of fun to watch. It creates a lot of complexity with its characters, and I think that is the number 1 triumph of that show. It creates a lot of complexity with its characters. So I love it. I think the characters win that show. That's what makes the show so good. The writing's pretty good. The whole universe is really cool. I really like that too. The whole power system of Nen is super neat. And the power system itself is pretty well written. I think it's just really creative and unique. So I love that show for a lot of reasons. But the characters, man, tugging my heartstrings, some of them. So good. There's some scenes just replaying in my head right now. Number 2, and I'd say this is in order. Is Shippuden. Come on, man. I've got the Reaper Death Seal on my arm. Need I say more? What a nerd, right? Come on, dude. No, Naruto's tattoos are sick. I don't care what anybody says. Shippuden's amazing. Shippuden's so good. It's so well written. That's kind of the difference, right? Is like Shippuden is that show. Shippuden is that show that is incredibly well written. So few plot holes for a show that throws so many twists your way. You probably, if you deep dive, you could probably find some. You could probably definitely find some plot holes if you dive far enough. Like you can with most shows. But for as long as the manga is, as long as the show runs, the lack of plot holes is impressive. The fights are really cool. There's some really good fights. Some really good fights. Some of them are a little lackluster, but I watched that show for character development, for writing. It's really good. It's really good. All the jutsus are all so cool, man. It's got a great cool factor to it. The thing that looped me into the Naruto world so much, I think, was early COVID. Early COVID time, I was posted up with my friends at my house, and my boy was like, "Hey, you gotta watch this fight, man." I don't think I had watched Naruto before that. I'm pretty sure I haven't. And it was the Rock Lee Gaara fight from the OG Naruto. I mean, I got so hype watching that fight. I made my PSN username whenever I bought my PS4 based off of Rock Lee. Like, dude, I loved that fight so much. It was so good. It was so good. So fun. When he opens the gates, come on. Nothing like it. Stands up, unconscious. Half dead. Dude's unconscious, still trying to fight. So gnarly. Such a good fight. It got me looped into Naruto, and I haven't really come back. It's incredible. So, lastly, this is a tough one, the last one. Let me just, I'm going to put a light tie right here, because the only anime I really grew up watching, except for Sailor Moon, because I had a sister. Nah, it was really because I had a sister. My sister watched a lot of Sailor Moon. Dragon Ball Z, man. I'm not even going to tell you why. Dragon Ball Z. But as of recent, I'm up to date with Super. As of recently, Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer is so good. Demon Slayer doesn't try to be anything that's not. Demon Slayer is just fun. I want to watch cool fights. Thank you, Demon Slayer. It's got a great setup for the plot. It's not overly complex in its writing. It doesn't have a whole lot of crazy plot twists or anything like that. It just gives you what you want. The characters are so likable. It's funny. The art style is amazing. My girl's watching it right now. I literally got off the phone with her not too long ago. She was talking about getting through the Entertainment District arc. She finishes that. We're going to watch a new movie. And then the new arc comes out soon thereafter. So, Demon Slayer, so good. It's just so good. I love it. The train movie, Mugen Train, I think is how you say it. Can't quite remember. So good, too. Come on, Flame Hashira. Badass. Let's go back to a fitness question. If I want to get my nutrition right, what are the best times to eat, and what should I be eating? His context behind this was there's no rush necessarily to put on weight. So, if you're trying to get your nutrition right, man, one, gauge your schedule. How many times a day do you think you can eat realistically? Second, what's the goal? Trying to get huge? Trying to put on muscle? And it seems like that's what it was. So, one, you're going to have to eat a lot of food. It's just how it goes. So, gauge how many times a day you can eat. Build yourself a meal plan. If you can't afford to hire a coach to do it for you, build yourself one. Start with quality protein sources. Lean stuff, great place to start. Chicken. You can eat chicken till the cows come home. I didn't mean that to be a joke, but hey, it is. Sometimes your brain just does it for you. But lean stuff like the chicken, poultry. So turkey, you can go ground turkey, ground chicken, whitefish. I kind of stray from tilapia. Tilapia is kind of a crappy fish, kind of like eating catfish. Cod is a good white fish to go for. It tastes delicious. Otherwise, get some red meat in there. Grass-fed. Usually like a high-quality source if you can find. It's going to be a little bit pricier, but it's going to be well worth it, man. Get you a little bit leaner beef cut. So if you're going to do steak, do filet, sirloin. If you're going to do ground beef, 90-10, maybe max fat. Try to find that 95.5, 97.3 even, or like the 93.7. Somewhere in those leaner cuts, high quality, red meat, maybe once a day or so. Drink your shakes, or shake rather. But I wouldn't crutch whey protein. A lot of people do. Super fast digesting, but nothing beats whole food. So get the good food in there. Carb sources, rice. Eat all the rice, man. Look, rice digests so easily. It fuels the workout so well. I get great pumps when I'm eating rice because it digests so well for me. So I would focus on that. Where's the digestion at? I do a lot of bread too now, just because I eat so much food at this point that switching up the sources is helpful for me to stomach it. Because sometimes I'm slogging through rice and it's a little tough whenever you're approaching the 400, 500 gram marks in rice. So sometimes doing like 5-6 pieces of bread instead is nice. Little switch up. So yeah, man, whatever works best for your digestion carb wise. I'd stay away from the box stuff, the candies, the cereals, the high sugar stuff, high refined sugar stuff. Otherwise, fruits, honey, natural sugars, great to go around the workout, pre-workout, post-workout. Eat berries. Berries are awesome for a lot of reasons. Extremely micronutrient dense berries. You get a lot of good vitamins coming out of berries, and you get some natural sugar there too. They're perfect. They're perfect for being around the workout. Otherwise, your fat sources, healthy oils, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, those are my go-tos. Macadamia oil is great. It's delicious. It's expensive. It's really healthy, and it's hard to find. I have some guys with macadamia oil in their plan. It's usually just you have to order it. And then like almond butters, actually straight, a lot of people do peanut butter. I love peanut butter, dog. I love peanut butter. I could eat so much peanut butter flavored anything. I love all of it. Anything peanut butter. But peanut butter is really not the best for you. Peanut butter is a legume. Sorry, peanuts are legumes. So peanut butter is a legume-based butter. It's not technically a nut butter. So, sticking with something like almond butter, cashew butter even. Those are good ways to go. Pricier, but hey, yet again, you're investing in your health and trying to make gains. So you want the most quality stuff that you can get. That's where I go to. And if you want to talk like a nutrient timing, whatever's best with your schedule, just try not to cram meals too close to each other. You want your digestion to be optimized. Higher sugar stuff, natural sugars ideally, honey, fruits, stuff like that. To get those around your workout. It's more ideal. Just because we want to kind of glycogen load, you're going to blow through some of that glycogen during your workout, post-workout, refeed it back in. The other thing is too, man, is to push into those calories a little bit more and get some more carbs in. Drink some intra-carbs. It's going to help your gym performance too. So drink you a Gatorade, man. Get you some Gatorade powder. Super cheap way to get some intra-carbs in. You can go buy all the carb powders that you want. And yeah, there are some that are probably better than drinking Gatorade powder. But hey, man, they're all sugar. So if you're going to drink refined sugar, or eat refined sugar rather, I should say, make it an intra-workout and get some sugar in during your workout. It's going to help your gym performance. And the mix of electrolytes that are in there with your Gatorade too are also going to help increase gym performance. Lastly, drink your water. Drink your water. Get hydrated. I can't suggest it enough. Hydration directly influences performance. So, favorite sneaker silhouette or colorway? Great question. Yet again, I'm a Jordan guy. I'm a Nike guy. I know a lot of people hate on them for quality issues and business practice and stuff. Hey, man, I've always liked Nikes. I've always liked Jordans. And, two of my favorite silhouettes and colorways I own, I don't have a ton by any means. I don't have a ton of Jordans, but I've got some. And I always loved 12s. I always loved 11s. I always loved 3s. I always really liked 1s too. Before 1s really got super popular. Everyone wears 1s now. But like 12s, 11s, 3s. Those are always my favorite colorways. Flu Games, man. I always wanted a pair of Flu Games. I hit on a raffle in 2016, and I got the 2016 drop of Flu Games. I've probably worn them less than 10 times. And I guess what's about 7 years now. They're so cool. They're just such a cool looking shoe. What a great story too. Incredible. Beautiful. Just a good looking sneaker. Otherwise, True Blue 3s, man. I got the 2016 release of True Blue 3s too. And I have worn the mess out of those shoes. If you've seen me in person, you've probably seen me with those on my feet sometime. They're so comfy. Like, and that's rare for Nike. It's rare for Jordan, honestly, in my opinion. Usually the toe box is so cramped, man. I got a wide flat foot, and usually they just jam my toes up. In this case, they do not. They're comfortable, a very comfortable sneaker. So those are probably my favorites. Outside of that, I really like Air Maxes. I personally, I wear Vans a lot. Vans are like a great just slip on. That's why I got on the feet right now. Ugh. I don't even know if I made it in the shot. But I wear Vans a lot. So, those are like kind of the go-tos. Outside of that, sneaker-wise, dude, I didn't get on the whole dunk trend. Everyone loves dunks. I've always liked dunks, but man, everyone hopped on the dunks heavy. I've never loved them like that. I'd always rather a pair of Jordans. So those are probably my favorites. 11s, 12s, 3s, just sick. Air Maxes are cool. Let's do one more. I've got a lot of questions left, so next time, if I didn't get to it, I will answer it. So let's go with, I like this one. How far is too far for you in this sport? Really good question. I don't know, man. I don't know. And by this sport, they mean bodybuilding, right? I would say at any point that I actually sacrifice my health, right? At any point that I get some blood work back and they're like, hey man, that's really not good. Or I start having serious health issues. If that is ever on the spectrum for me, it's not worth it. I love bodybuilding, I do, but I want it to give more than it takes. So, I'm putting my work in now, and I've been putting it in for years at this point. I'll continue to. I love it. I hope I have a fairly long career. I want it to be a successful one. I always want to be the best at whatever I do. So, too far is whenever I start sacrificing my health. And mental health is included. And if it becomes a point where I know that there's a little bit of a sacrifice there whenever it comes to like just kind of day-to-day stuff. Hey man, it sucks eating a ton of food sometimes. It sucks whenever you don't have a lot of food to eat. There's some mental repercussion there too that I'm prepared for. But if it becomes an issue where it weighs on me and I don't love it anymore, then I'm okay. I'm okay to step away. But I have a lot of things to settle. I've got a lot of shows to win. I want to be great. I always have been. I always have. I always have wanted to be great at whatever it is I'm doing. I've put a lot of work into this. A lot. And I'll continue to. I love it. I really do. I love it. I love the grind. I love doing something mentally that a lot of people can't bring themselves to. It's eat the same stuff every single day. It's train so hard day in and day out. Just make it happen. I love that. It's hard. That's why I like it. There's something really euphoric about being able to do something that others cannot. That others can't bring themselves to do mentally. Anybody could do it. Bodybuilding's not that hard, if I'm going to be honest. It's expensive. It's not that hard. It's far from the hardest I've trained. I remember one of my first like one-on-one wide receiver training workouts with an old personal coach of mine. That was one of the hardest workouts I've ever had in my life. I remember at the end of it, I was so exhausted. I feel like I fought 10 rounds. And he put Mario Drayton, Coach Drayton. He was the man. I don't know if he's watching this, and if he is, I hope you are, Coach Drayton, because I love you, bro. You were the man. And it left an impact on me, that workout, because I remember at the end, I'll never forget it. I was dog tired. He could see it. And he just told me, he's like, ain't got to be fast now. And we had been working. He said, ain't got to be fast right now. Got to be perfect, though. It's got to be perfect. So everything I did was crispy. Every route I ran was crispy. But, man, I didn't have anything left. And he knew how to get more out of me when I had nothing left. Whenever I finished, I walked up the hill, and, boy, I puked my guts out. It wasn't the first time I've thrown up from a workout, but I threw up violently. It was brutal, dude. It was brutal. But he got so much out of me in that moment. And it was every time that you work that hard, it's a character-defining moment for you. You get to, find out who you are a little bit, dig deep. That's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. So, I'm pretty much nearing the end right here. It's been fun. It's been fun filming this. I'm super excited. I am really looking forward to seeing how this grows, where we go, the connections that I make, the people that I talk to, everything that comes from it. I'm excited. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched all the way to the end right here, thank you so much. This is the SEANCAST, episode number 1. First one. First of many. Thursdays. All right, every Thursday. We ain't going to miss. If I do something, I'm going to do it. All right, y'all going to get great content every Thursday. Thanks so much for coming this far. And listen, everyone that's already supported me, everyone that's reached out, everyone that showed me love, thank you so much. Thank you all so much. And I'm really grateful. I'm greatly looking forward to seeing the trajectory of everything. And man, it's just a really, it feels like a defining moment for me. I've been looking forward to this for so long. So just thanks again for watching, for listening, and do what everyone else says. Push me in the algorithm a little bit, man. Hey, leave a like. It will be extremely helpful. Comment who you want to see on the podcast. Who do you want me to talk to? Who are some guests that you'd like me to speak with? I've got a lot lined up right now. But hey, if you want me to speak to somebody specifically, let me know. Drop it in the comment. Tell me what you think. Feel free to answer some of those questions that I answered myself. What are some of your favorite sneakers, man? What are some of your favorite animes? Just dive into it. Whatever you want to. Thank you, everybody. Subscribe to it too. Notification bell so you know whenever the SEANCAST comes out. It's going to be every Thursday, but just get that little ding from your boy. Right? Come here, Geppetto. Come here. What excellent timing. This is Geppetto. She is an absolute goober. And she's really sweet. I've never been a big cat person, but she just likes to come hang out. I feed her bacon. She loves bacon. So, good timing, Geppetto. Welcome to the SEANCAST. First guest. Incredible. And an athlete just jumped from love seat to couch. Best athlete probably that'll ever be on the show. She is now trying to eat a bottle cap. Hey, don't do that. Thank you for watching. Come here, dude. Hey.